You're listening to The State of Work, the podcast by Lano. The State of Work is about finding your place in the changing world of work as an individual or an organisation. In each episode, we dive into some of the benefits and limitations that we face when it comes to remote and flexible work. We discuss how we work, how we hire and manage people, and how we live in this increasingly global workplace. I'm your host, Maddie Duke, and our guest this week is Karsten Kossatz, an entrepreneur and founder of Independesk, an ecosystem through which any company can post its unused office space or empty desks and rent them out by the hour or day to people in the neighbourhood. A bit like car sharing, only for desks and workspaces. I chatted to Karsten about his founding journey and how this idea came about, as well as how he plans to expand into new markets and his visions for the future of the way we work. Welcome, Karsten, to the podcast. Thanks so much for joining me.
Thanks for inviting me. Hello.
How are you today?
I'm very good, as I'm really excited these days.
Yes, awesome. Well, I'm looking forward to our chat. Can you tell me, first of all, where you're joining from today?
Oh, I'm actually in my own office today because we have a lot of team meetings lately and we do them in person.
And is that in Berlin?
That's in Berlin, yes.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, great to have you here. Really excited to hear what you've got to say. And I thought we'd kick off just by if you could tell me about yourself and about Independesk.
Oh, yes, I love that. I'm Karsten. I'm 29 years old. I've been an entrepreneur for 10 years now, having had several ventures that I was involved in. But what really drives me is changing the world, to make it a bit better place, to change our lives, to make them better. That's what I'm fighting for. That's what I have been fighting for always. And so I think creating impact ventures or startups is something that I really love. And one of these startups I founded in the beginning of last year. It's called Independesk. So what does it mean? Independesk, independent desk. It's basically a platform. It's an app where everyone with spare desks can put them on the platform and sub-rent them hourly and daily to people of the environment from the neighborhood. So it basically works like a car sharing app, and you can easily book your professional workplace around the corner in your neighborhood by just going to the app and book a table.
Awesome. And so with that, you're helping to enable people to work from different places and work differently to how we traditionally work.
Yes, that's the idea. I mean, a lot of people are in the home office lately, and that's great. I think home office is a wonderful thing, and I also think that the pandemic has brought a lot of focus to this topic, which is good in a sense because before the pandemic, especially in Germany, the companies were not really convinced that this was possible and that people were productive in their home office. But as we could see, it's almost the opposite. It's working really well and people are really productive. But there are, of course, people who need an alternative to their home office because they really can't concentrate, or their flat is too small, or they really want to differentiate between private life and company life. And that's all right. And for this reason, for not having to commute to the office every day, I thought Independesk fills the gap and brings an additional option. Yeah.
Great. And when did you get the idea for Independesk, and how did it come to you?
There were different reasons, actually. Before that, I've had an advertisement agency for several years, and of course, I was confronted with employees asking me if they could stay in their home office, and so I had to deal with this topic quite early, and quite often actually, because creatives are already creative in looking for new workplaces or where to work from. So I thought, yeah, okay, probably the office is not the best place to be creative. And so I developed a concept which is called the outside society, which is a container that opens to all sides and that you can place wherever you usually spend your free time. So you can place it into the woods or at the beach or on the mountain, and you have a meeting room there. So you can have meetings. You can have power from solar panels.
Wow.
You can have Wi-Fi. We even have a coffee machine in there. It's basically an office, but outside. So
yes, yeah, I was curious to know about that.
Yeah, it is really, really a really nice product, and I really love that. It's just really, really not scalable, but nevertheless, I really adore the outside society, and it's been standing in Switzerland this summer.
Okay.
It's a summer product, so people come and co-work there during summertime. That was quite exciting because that was close to Zurich, and it was just beautifully right beside a river and beautiful. And through this, I was explaining everyone, hey, with the outside society, you can work from everywhere. But that wasn't really true. Actually, it was, you can work from special places, but not really from everywhere. Then I thought, okay, it would be so great to have a platform that really enables you to work from everywhere. So now, how does this work? How can this work? Obviously, we could have opened a co-working chain, or we could have connected all the co-working spaces through a platform. But still, we wanted to be available around the corner, and there are not so many co-working spaces around, especially because they're mainly in the center of cities.
Yeah.
So we really needed a solution that enables the existing office infrastructure to become co-working. And this is what we did through our Independesk app, because everyone can there sublet their spare desks, every company basically with an office.
What sort of spaces are there? So I understand there's some office space that's otherwise not in use, and maybe also partnering with some co-working spaces.
Yes, well, obviously co-working spaces are really, really nice for that, because they already have this infrastructure. But we really do have a lot of medium and small sized companies that have, just because their own employees are in the home office as well now, have a lot of spare desks. So so they put in a room or a meeting room or some tables in a big office. So we have companies like advertisement agencies, we have event agencies on there. But we also have some nice studios and ateliers there.
Nice.
Like really nice. It's a great collection of nice places. And also, it's not places, it's people running these places. When I book an Independesk, I'm always surprised by how open the people are and how much networking it brings. Also for me. Also, when people come here to work through Independesk, I get a lot of input from them, and we have so interesting people. We have freelancers. For example, I can tell the story of last year's Christmas party that we had to do remotely. But I thought, okay, what can we do? And then I talked to this coworker here who came through Independesk, and he is a beer sommelier. So what he did was I thought when I talked to him, okay, that's exactly what I need. So he made this Zoom beer tasting, which was amazing. So you find these people that really enrich your life, and I'm quite happy about this community that just starts building up.
What a great utilization of space as well that would otherwise be unused.
Oh,
Like if you've got an
absolutely.
office that would be open with, utilities running anyway. Yeah, I think that's a really, as you say, it's an impact venture. It's a sort of repurposing of unused space.
Yes, I mean, what sense does it make that the people from the east of the city, let's just say east, west, or north, south, let's say north, south, the people from the north work in the south and they drive there every day, half an hour back and forth, and the people from the south do it vice versa. What sense does it make at all? I mean, I understand we really need office space. We will keep on needing office space to meet each other in person, and that's quite a big, important thing for companies building their culture. But also there are a lot of days where people don't have any meetings, or where people really don't need to be in a big company group, so they can just look for a table nearby.
Yeah. And so what are the biggest use cases for Independesk? Do you have businesses that want to give their workers a place to go to, or is it usually individuals booking it for themselves?
Oh, actually, we have these two use cases. We have freelancers who really, look for a place where they can have meetings with their customers, or just go out for working, so they don't have to work from home. So this is an important use case. But the other important use case is companies that want to give their employees an additional option to work remote.
Yeah.
So we have these company accounts. A company signs up and then makes sub accounts for all of their employees, and they get limits, monthly limits, to what price they can spend money on Independesk. Individual limits. So, for example, I always say the intern should get a bigger budget than the boss, because the boss maybe has a working room, a workplace at home, and the intern is just a student who really works from the bed or wherever.
That's a really good point. And,
Yeah.
I think when we talk about the benefits of remote work, or working from home, I should say, a lot of people focus on that family unit and that it's, I get to spend more time with my partner, I get to spend more time with my kids, this or that. Lockdowns aside, when parents are having to parent while working. But I think that there is definitely something to be said for those people who don't have that really traditional structure of living, where they might be in a VG, like a share house with a number of other people, and they've only got one room and it might be quite small. And that's a really good point, and it's good to acknowledge those sorts of situations.
Right. And sometimes you just need a professional environment, and you don't need any crying kids or partners who also have a video conference at the same time. That has happened quite often, I guess, throughout the pandemic. I think there are a lot of use cases, a lot of situations. I always say it is an additional thing in Independesk. So we need home office, we need the company office, but we also need a third option, and this is Independesk.
That's great. And I imagine also when we think about, at Lano, we talk a lot about businesses that are expanding and growing a team internationally. If a business has just made their first remote hire, maybe they're based in Spain or something, and then they've just hired someone in Germany, but that person's their first employee in Germany.
Yes.
Supporting them with this sort of solution where they have a choice to go around the corner to the local Independesk space.
And they can also use it as a networking opportunity to get people to, I mean, the own employees are most of the time the best brand ambassadors a company can have. So I'm not talking about going there and handing over your business card to everyone. That's pretty annoying, actually. And you shouldn't do that. But just go there and have a nice chat in the kitchen with some stranger or former stranger that is open to listen to your story, and that when you're open to listen to their story, most of the time, I would actually say all of the time, you really get a lot of input from that, and that's quite valuable.
Yeah, that's awesome. And yeah, I mean, working from home and working alone is not actually for everyone. So a lot of people say, oh, working from home, I can spend all this extra time focusing without any interruptions. But there are definitely people who work better when they're able to be sort of surrounded by a few other people socially.
Yes, that would be me. I really don't like home office. I understand the advantages, and I think for a lot of people it brings a lot of added value to their life. But for me, it's just I work a lot, and the few hours that I spend at home, I really don't want to work. I want to sleep, or I want to eat, or I want to read a book. So in terms of getting this into my head that home is home and work is work, I really don't like to work from home. Yeah. So I just love to go somewhere else, even if I don't chat with people, even if I just go there to work. It's important. Also, the way to the office is quite interesting, because I get a lot of ideas in my head. My head already starts preparing for the office when I move to the office.
Yeah. How do you get to the office?
That's different. That's different from day to day. Actually, if I book in independesk, I obviously walk because it's close by. I have a pretty nice agency that has put their office online. That is quite close by. I already love them so much, and it's my favorite place to work, close by. But sometimes I go to the company office, then I take the bike, and sometimes I take the car if I know that I have a lot of official appointments where I shouldn't be as, I don't know, if I'm on the bike, I'm
disheveled.
Always, yeah, and not really business style, more startup style, I'd say.
Yeah, right. And I guess, well, there is also sometimes something to be said for some amount of commute to really give you that boundary and that break between work and home, and also to give you time to listen to a podcast.
Yes, that's right.
Lano makes it easy to hire the best talent on the planet, wherever they may be. From compliant contracts to global payroll, Lano has you covered. No matter the size of your business, you can hire and pay employees in more than 150 countries. Check out our global hiring guides by visiting lano.io. Now, you recently pitched your idea, you pitched Independesk to the investors on Die Höhle der Löwen,
yes.
Which, for anyone listening who doesn't speak German or isn't familiar, this is like the German version of Shark Tank. So that's really exciting. Can you tell me about that experience?
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was such a great experience. I mean, you apply for this, and then they call you and say, "Hey, Karsten, we want you." But the investors still don't know, right? They don't know until you really enter the door in the studio and you present your thing, your startup. So I was so excited going there, and then this day I went there, and they were super nice. They really loved my concept. 4 of 5 investors gave me an offer, basically. So
Nice one.
I could
You
even,
could choose.
yeah, I could choose. And what I did was I negotiated my first offer up. So I got even more than I had expected. That was
Congratulations.
such an opportunity, incredible, and it really gives us the power to now, yeah, develop Independesk to something big. And it's not only the financial aspect, but it's also the strategic aspect, because I got two investors that are really well known and that have a lot of good contacts for us, that they can introduce us to, and also they are strategic thinkers, so we can develop our strategy with them. And that really is a huge opportunity and a milestone in our startup.
That's fantastic.
Thank
Congratulations.
you, thank
Is
you.
that your TV debut as well?
No, actually, last year already had during the pandemic, I made a project with friends helping the local stores here that has had to close down, selling vouchers. And then I had already been on TV. But I guess this was the biggest TV format that I
Yeah.
had ever been on, because in Germany, like 3 or 3.5 million people watch this, so it's a huge show, and creates a huge impact. And we're now in this week of after the broadcast, and there are a lot of new users trying out our app, and a lot of nice feedback, and people love it. So I'm really happy to see this community starting to build up.
Fantastic. And I mean, you've told me earlier about how much the value of getting publicity right can mean, and I'd really love to hear more about that and maybe some advice for other early stage startups.
Well, when I started with Independesk, I didn't want to tell anyone, because I always thought, this is such a great idea, and I don't want people to steal my idea. But
I think that's a natural feeling.
it is. But in the startup world, what I can say now is everything is about execution. You have to get it on the road. And there is one thing that is important about getting things on the road. That's telling people.
Yep.
So that's a little.
Otherwise, it's a very lonely road.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's a sort of paradox, because you don't want people to copy, but at the same time you need to get feedback on your idea, and you need to spread the word. And for this, the press is just a wonderful, multiplicator, or multiplier to tell a lot of people. You probably don't have the reach that the press has. The press is just is there for their reach, and if journalists are really convinced of your idea, they're also willing to support you with an article or a blog post or whatsoever. So I say every publicity is good publicity, and you should really care for early stage press releases, so people can already get to know your idea, because
Yeah.
what we feel is that we really want to change the working world, and it doesn't take only a month to change the working world. People who hear about Independesk might download the app, but also it might take them another half a year until they really get activated to book a desk. So what I want to bring across is that it's hard to change a mindset, and you only change a mindset by constant communication about the same topic, about your topic. And
Yeah.
this is why publicity is so important.
Awesome. Yeah, coming back to your experience with on Die Höhle der Löwen, and also just your experience in general, kind of getting this idea off the ground and really happening. For anyone that's listening that also might have like what they think is a really brilliant idea, and they're just sort of not really sure how to, like, what first steps to take. Do you have any advice for those sort of new founders or potential new founders that are at the stage where they need to start seeking investment?
Well, the first point is to really think about the concept. How does it work? Because this is how you can convince your first partners. And by partners, I don't necessarily mean investors. I also mean strategic partners. In my case, it will be the first locations that were on independesk. Also, the development team that I had to convince to work with me. So these sort of partners, I mean.
Yeah.
And then by having this first concept, you can already design the first dummies of your idea. And with these dummies, you should go out and test it and get it tested by other people. And yeah, this is the point where you could start communicating. Hey, that's my project and that's what I want to do. Because then you already create a fan base, or you have the opportunity to create a fan base.
Yeah.
And so it's important to focus on the very idea in the beginning, in terms of making people want to support you.
Yeah. Awesome. Thanks. And also, I mean, you mentioned part of the value of having these two new investors on your team is having a strategic partnership and opening up lots of new opportunities with new networks and contacts, and not just the financial value of that. But how do you see independesk in the future now that this is happening? Like, do you see that your team expanding? Could you see independesk launching in other countries?
Oh, actually, we are already planning the next launch, which will be in Austria and Switzerland next year, and then expanding all over Europe.
Great.
I'm looking forward to that, because I think also for travelers, it's a quite nice feature to I mean, everyone knows that you have this wonderful vacation, and then you have a very important email to write, and you don't want to do that from your hotel room because your partner is there and she or he wants to relax. So you would just go somewhere else and book a table nearby. Also, you can connect to locals there. So we're building a bigger thing, because this really creates impact. And of course, our team will grow. We get a lot of feedback now, so our UX team will have to grow, our support team will have to grow. All these one-man sections in our company that we used to have. So I mean, in a team of 8, you really have one person that is responsible for a task, or for a
specific area. Yeah.
You now have to build different teams. A location team, a company team, because we really want to support companies in getting remote. This is really important, and that's what we're at now. And I'm thrilled to see where it leads us. People don't stop downloading our app. They're really interested in seeing what's it all about, and so I hope there will be more people coming and booking and giving us feedback, honest feedback. But as far as I can see, that's exactly what's happening.
Yeah.
I'm not here to say I have the perfect solution, but I'm here to say I want to make the perfect solution for the future. And I can only do that with a lot of users that give me insights in how they use independesk.
I think that's a really fantastic attitude to have when you're in this position of, continually being open to feedback and finding out how you can improve the solution that you're already providing.
When you're huge as a company, then you can maybe afford a market research. But actually to work with real users is way more fun, and we don't have the budget to spend this on some research institute. We really have to stick close to our use cases, to the people that actively use it, and that's really what makes a company valuable also for the users, because it's developed by their needs.
Yeah, they're definitely going to feel much more of a sense of being part of what's happening and feeling part of the community.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
If you're going to be expanding into some different countries within Europe, do you see yourself hiring someone locally in those countries, or outsourcing stuff to maybe some contractors or freelancers?
Yeah, we are definitely not in the age of centralized work anymore. And apart from that, I also think that we really need people in the specific places or countries where we want to expand to, because it's a question of culture, it's a question of language, it's a question of acceptance also by the local community. And I think people from the specific countries or regions really already bring that, and they have an understanding for the culture or for the needs way better than we will ever have it. And this is why I think we will build a decentralized organization. Of course, some things will be decided here in Berlin or wherever we might sit in the future. But in general, we will be like a network company.
Awesome. And like, if I can ask, how would you go about finding the right people to work with when you're dealing with, bringing someone on board?
That's the hardest question you had for me. It's really hard. That's a challenge. Finding good people is such a challenge. I'm happy now that I've found good people in my team. I mean, we are 8 people, and they're all really, really concerned, or they really care a lot, and they make it their project, which is incredible, really, really nice. But finding other people, I think I would meet them in person. This is something that even though it might be a distance for me to travel, it's so important to get the vibes of the other person and to see if really the attitude is corresponding to my attitude or to the company's attitude. I guess I would choose people who already seem to be convinced by the idea, and who really want to, who are really makers, people who really want to change the world as well. I think you can't work in a startup when you have the attitude of just going to work and sitting there for your 8 hours and then going back. You really have to make it your project. That doesn't mean that you have to work incredibly much, but you have to be really, you have to be strongly convinced and be amazed by this idea.
Yeah. You did kind of mention like wanting to change the world and kind of having an impact with the things you do. And it's quite clear, that the world of work is changing right now, even more rapidly in the last couple of years. How do you see it changing in the future? Or what's your vision for how it should be?
I think it should be, the working world should be more user-centered. It has been for decades company-centered, but it should be user-centered. And not only user-centered, but probably task or project-centered or feeling-centered. It should leave all these options open. I mean, having the same setup for every task I do is probably not the right thing. I should have different setups, or the access to set up different offices for different tasks that I have. Sometimes I want to concentrate. Sometimes I want to get inspired. Also, sometimes I'm not productive. Well, why do I work then? Why shouldn't I just take half a day off and work in the evening? And we should make it as flexible as possible. But that's not only a tool thing. I mean, we are delivering the tool probably, but that's also a mindset thing. So people should allow themselves to be unproductive, but they should then focus at other times and make their lives, work better together with their workplace.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I think you've mentioned before as well that people should match the space to their tasks. Is that kind of also what you mean? Like if I've got a day full of meetings, then I want to be in a particular environment. And if I've got a day where I've got a lot of writing or researching to do that I need
that's exactly
total silence, I might actually physically be in a different place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And also your own, what is it, humor? No, what's Stimmung in English?
Mood.
Mood, yeah. Mood.
Yeah.
Your own mood is quite important for where you want to sit today. And I think taking all these aspects into considerations by choosing a workplace really makes a difference in being productive and also in being happy.
Wise words.
I think we now have the once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change something. Old behaviors from decades ago can now be pushed away, and there is so much space for new ideas and new concepts, and we should try them out and change as much as we can, because now after the pandemic we have this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to change our lives completely.
Awesome. It's a very inspiring note to end on. Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, it's been really great to talk to you. And of course, if anyone listening is interested to download Independesk, please do. And really excited to see what comes. And thanks for joining me, and thanks so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
The State of Work is available wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also find us on Instagram or Twitter by searching for The State of Work. For more information about today's topic and links to further reading, check out our show notes at podcast.lano.io. Thanks for listening, and see you next time on The State of Work.